Hey everyone, it's Flak. I'm feeling a bit under the weather right now, so bear with me here for this video. Battlefield 5's future remains a bit uncertain. While we're all still waiting on a roadmap for significant future content, speculation runs rampant as to where we're headed after our trip to the Pacific Theater. While unconfirmed, new data mined info reveals DICE might not be entirely done with the European theater. Data miner extraordinaire Temporyal has been back at it, digging into Battlefield 5's files after the most recent patch. In doing so, he's discovered one of the most iconic aircraft of World War II, the P-51 Mustang. This American fighter was also employed by several other nations, including the United Kingdom and Canada. Although the P-51 did see service with American forces escorting aircraft like the B-17 and B-29 over Japan, it's much more synonymous with the bombing campaigns of Europe. I'm going to Pepe Silvia this and say it's unlikely the appearance of the P-51 in the game's files has anything to do with the rumored and unconfirmed Pacific map called Pacific Ocean. This map is reportedly focused on sea and air combat, which conjures thoughts of the Battle of Midway. It's also entirely possible DICE could reimagine carrier assault as the Battle of the Coral Sea, or perhaps even the Battle of the Philippine Sea, known to many as the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot. Now, while the Mustang was certainly present in the Pacific Theater, it wasn't a carrier-based fighter. It also doesn't make much sense for DICE to add the aircraft so late in their exploration of the war with Japan. Battlefield 5's Tides of War live service has certainly shown players respond better to significant content drops as opposed to a slow drip feed. This crystallizes the thought in my mind that DICE are saving the Mustang for something significant. And of course the question is, what exactly might that be? My suspicions fall to Italy, and here's why. Battlefield 5's art book has some very clear references to the Italian campaign, and includes artwork depicting the Abbey courtyard of Monte Cassino. An Italian Mach-E C202 also appears in other concept art. Developers have clearly done some footwork and at least explored that theater in concept, which makes a journey there all the more likely in the future of Battlefield 5. I'll even go out on a limb and point out that the Marston mats that appear in Battlefield 5 could also point to Italy, as they were integral in the construction of temporary airfields used to support the Allied advance in the Mediterranean and Italian campaigns. Other unfinished vehicles might also point to Italy. A few self-propelled guns have been in the files for over a year. Models of the German Grille and Hummel, as well as the British Bishop, are buried in the game. A wreck of the latter one can actually be seen on a RAS, and all of these were used in the fighting for Italy, so why else would DICE wait on them for so long? Yet even more unfinished content also has a surprising Italian connection. According to Temporyal, DICE has made continued improvements to the unreleased K-31 weapon model. This straight-pulled bolt-action carbine was the main service weapon of the Swiss military in World War II, but it was also employed by another unit, the Swiss Papal Guard. Vatican City is of course located in Rome, and it might provide just a compelling enough reason to include the K-31 in Battlefield 5. And while both the Vatican City and Switzerland remain neutral in World War II, their proximity to conflict makes this an intriguing coincidence. Of course, this is just speculation. However, if DICE decides not to head to Italy, where else could they go? It's long been suggested that while DICE wanted to start Battlefield 5 with more unknown battles, they had every intention of returning to iconic battlefields as time progressed. The campaign in Normandy is one of those obvious locations, and it is a bit difficult to imagine visiting such spaces without the M1 Garand, which was released not too long ago. Other unreleased weapons with a distinctly Western Front flavor include the Lanchester, Wellrod, Shosha, Wellgun, and the Patchet. Now, the Patchet actually saw action at the Battle of Arnhem during Operation Market Garden, so it's hard to see it, or the other weapons we just mentioned, fitting thematically with the Eastern Front. There are also quite a few unused cosmetic items in the files unique to locations on the Western Front. Normandy and the subsequent push to the Rhine also create space for another vehicle recently discovered in the files, the German Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234. This 8-wheeled armored car was formidable as an armored reconnaissance vehicle and could even hold its own against light armor, sometimes employed in a tank destroyer capacity. Germany produced several variants of the 234, including some with autocannons, tank guns, and anti-tank armament. With the turret as the only significant visual change between these models, it makes the vehicle perfect for a Battlefield 5 specialization tree. Although not deployed in Italy, the 234 performed well at Normandy and was the only German armored car to be kept in production up until the end of the war. The aforementioned Hummel was also first used during the Battle of Kursk. Perhaps a more important question than where Battlefield 5 will go next is whether or not it will actually help save the game. DICE's approach to the Pacific Theater has admittedly won back a few players. Map design has largely been solid and provided a good balance of fan service and new content. Now, Battlefield 5's developers seem to be on the right track before the much-loathed changes to the game's time to kill back around the winter holidays. Reportedly, the game's 6.2 update will change things to make them more closely reflect weapon balance prior to that controversial 5.2 patch. If DICE can put the controversy behind them with the next patch, I think Battlefield 5 stands a good chance of bouncing back like Star Wars Battlefront 2. So, whether we wind up in Italy, Normandy, or even the Eastern Front, let's just hope DICE leaves Battlefield 5's TTK alone. I'm curious what you think, however. Where will Battlefield 5 go next? What will draw players back in? And where would you like to go? Make sure to tell me down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If not, a dislike. Make sure to subscribe and tap the bell for the latest Battlefield news. And as always, thanks for watching.